Motion to spill. Case number 005. Till death do us part. Then what? Blended families and second marriages.
Hi, I am Megan Rogers, your paralegal and co-host, and I am here with Sarah Young.
Thanks for saying it right.
The Sarah Young? Are you the Sarah Young? The attorney?
Is it time to tell that story?
Only on the weekends and selected religious holidays.
If we've already told the story, then you can just edit this out.
Yeah, I don't think we have, though.
Can you hand me my laptop?
I do.
Hang on. Can you hand me my laptop real quick?
Yes, I can.
What you need?
It's just looking for a plug. Plug in my... Oh, perfect. I don't think I need a charger, but... Because
Just in case.
There's one that I had started that did not get printed, so... About the blended family stuff.
Oh, okay.
The Brady Bunch.
So anyway, the story of why we say the Sarah Young is because I do a ton of her networking for the law office of Sarah Young. So I'll go around to different networking groups and different events. And I know you're going to be shocked, but Sarah's a bit more introverted than I am. So
don't let that out.
I know. So, a lot of these people have met me multiple times and they know me, and we joke. I have a gray jacket that I wear all the time and it has the law office name. So a lot of times people ask me if I'm Sarah. I'm like, no, I did not drink that Kool-Aid. I am not an attorney. And so they know about her, obviously. And then we are at a realtor event.
Infamously.
Yeah, we're at a realtor event. And I'm talking to these different people. Oh, hey, Megan, it's great to see you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's great to see you. Let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah's with me today. And they would go, the Sarah Young? And I chuckled, and Sarah's like, I am not that cool. I can't believe they said that. Well, then it happened over and over and over again. And a good friend of ours and referral partner who is also a realtor, Rob Harold, was at this event, and I look over at him and I'm like, watch, this person's going to say the Sarah Young. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, watch. And sure as they just do. I'm like, so would you, Sarah's with me today. I'd love to introduce you. Oh my gosh, the Sarah Young. And Rob is dying laughing and then watches it happen over and over again throughout the whole night. And so now all the time it is, oh my God, it's the Sarah Young.
Even better, we were at a small business expo recently, emceed by none other than your producer here, Tim Beeman.
And as soon as she walks in,
the Sarah Young.
I had to make an appearance 3 hours after the event started.
But the best part of that was that your daughter came later and
8-year-old
and had heard this introduction, and she walks over and all but pulls on Tim's coat sleeve to say, I need you to introduce me like that.
But she also told me before she did that, she says, just so you know, if you think that I'm Sarah Young, I'm not.
Oh, that's my girl. She will set you straight.
Yep. So she had her own introduction, and she's told that story so many times.
And then she was fascinated that my last name is Beeman, and she was there with her honey.
That's right, because my husband, we have a hobby farm in Davie County, North Carolina, just across the river from Forsyth. And we have chickens, like egg-laying chickens. But his pride and joy are his bees. He's a honeybee, or a beekeeper. And he and my daughter, that's like their thing that they do together. They make lip balms and candles and bottle honey, and she hawks it for him. She sells it. And
well, who's going to tell a very cute young lady no, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about this, right, Megan?
Yep,
Megan was
because
developing her marketing strategy.
Yeah, she is. She sits there with her hands on her hips in front of networking groups of like 20 adults, and she'll say, if you have the money, I've got the honey.
That's a pretty awesome hook my husband came up with, but it's much cuter when she says it.
Yes,
And when he says it.
When it probably, the blonde hair, blue eyed 8-year-old girl with dimples gets a totally different reaction than a 6'2" man going, "If you've got the money, I've got the honey." It would have a different effect. So now you know why we say the Sarah Young.
It's well deserved. And fun to say.
Yeah, so I'm surprised you haven't said, if you see Sarah out.
Please say, are you the Sarah Young?
Or even better, I could record it and we download it to the website and people can have it on their phone. So when they would say the Sarah Young.
No one can really say it quite like Tim.
That is true.
He's
cornered the market.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Love his voice.
It's Pocket Tim for the Sarah Young.
Like the
So-
Staples Easy button.
That's right.
I'm going to have to make one
Oh.
with Tim saying it.
You know what? They have those. Just like, did you know that someone made a custom bobblehead? You can do that now with someone's picture. Someone made a custom bobblehead of Denise Heidel. And for those of you who are not from the area, Denise Heidel knows everyone, and she is amazing. She is the executive director of the Louisville Clemens Chamber of Commerce. Look them up on their website. She's amazing. But someone made her bobblehead of her, and I love it. But like, that would be funny if so if you can do a bobblehead, certainly you can capture Tim's voice saying that and like Staples Easy button it.
Yes.
But my
I need a
current,
Tim Beeman bobblehead that actually goes the Sarah Young every time you bobble my head.
we'll have to work on that for sure. But I've got a couple of different buttons on my desk. One of them I got from a local dollar store, which is no longer $1 for their items.
It's the local $1.25 store.
It's $1.50 now.
Oh.
Like, they're sneaky about it. I went in there, I was like, wait, why is this $1.25 and this is $1.50? Oh, well, some items are now $1.50. I'm like,
That's premium.
yeah, it's so premium. It's
Not like the $5 and $10 aisle.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes you get some decent stuff, but sometimes it's just a bunch of shrinkflation. But anyway, we're not naming that store because, I still go there. But where was I going with that? I don't even know. But my favorite button. Someone got me a no button. Like, you hit it, it goes no. It has, and
Absolutely not.
and what are the other
I
things?
don't think
It is
so.
forbidden.
Yeah. No way. And it was like 6 different voices and 6 different ways to say no. It's hilarious.
And so we come in and ask her a question, and she goes with the button.
No.
No.
Anyway, back to the
Back to our
topic
thing.
here.
So this is my favorite type of estate planning. It's the most fun for me, not, of course, always for the people going through it. And sometimes it's awkward to be in the intake room when she's like, well, your cats. And then the guy's like, no, that's not what we talked about. And I'm like, should I leave the room now?
Yeah.
So the
Which we're happy to work through those things with you. We really are.
yeah. So the story of
regardless of our
second
comfort.
marriage gone wrong. Because they go wrong.
Occasionally,
They become
yeah.
a problem.
They do.
Your kids, their kids, sometimes our kids, so they can get really messy.
Yeah, there's the yours, mine, and ours debacle.
And they always are the nastiest when you deal with an estate.
Oh, yeah. So, there's a Brady Bunch family, and that's usually what I call it, like the Brady Bunch estate planning. That's when do I need a trust? That's usually a pretty good indication if you have a blended family for a lot of reasons, which hit me up for a consultation. on
Yeah,
that.
because the wife is always sitting there with her perfectly manicured nails saying, I'll take care of your kids. Just leave everything to me.
Oh, we're going to go into the reasons then. Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, those promises fall apart. Just don't die first. Don't you ever die first,
yeah.
because things change real quick. And so there are obviously different trust structures for different family dynamics, and you can set up and customize things so much more so that your legacy continues on, or your plan that you've come up with your spouse, whether it be first wife, second husband, or like fourth spouse. It doesn't matter. You can still come up with something that suits your needs, because everybody's situation is different, and it's not as complicated as you might think it is. But
the beautiful
plan
thing
for
is a trust versus a will, where a will is just going to direct what happens in probate, and as soon as it's executed, it's done. And a trust is a living document.
Right, living, breathing. It can change as you change. It's an alter ego of your marriage. So, it needs to reflect your wants, wishes, desires for both of you. And you can set it up so that continues even after one of you dies. So you do have to have the uncomfortable conversations with your spouse about this and talk about how you want to protect your biological children, how they want to protect theirs. And you can cover some of this with a prenuptial agreement, but it can also work together with estate planning. You don't really necessarily need prenup or postnup, although in many situations it's very appropriate. But a trust can work with any agreements like that you have, or a trust can make sure that what you want to happen actually does happen. So that, like, here's a quick nightmare scenario. You get married. I want my kids to get 50% when we die. I want your kids to get 50% when we die. Like, when first spouse dies, surviving spouse gets everything. When surviving spouse dies, my kids get 50%, your kids get 50%. That's what most people want. But it doesn't have to happen. So let's say that's what they want. They do a will, and the surviving spouse gets everything. Like, Tim dies, his wife gets everything. But he wanted, do you have?
I have one.
Okay. Well, if you wanted your child to inherit, as soon as you die, your surviving spouse can go and change her will and make her kids get everything, or just tear up the will she's already got.
She has none. So luckily we won't run into that, but I can definitely see where that'd be a problem.
It's ugly because, she said she'd take care of my kids. Doesn't work like that always. So anyway, we won't go into that too much, and we won't go into the types of trusts too much. But if you have questions about it, specific questions, email us at info@motiontospill.com, and we might cover it on a podcast, or maybe we could set up a consultation. But anyway, so the problem is that a lot of state intestacy laws, which intestacy without a will, a lot of them assume a nuclear family. So if you die without a will, much of your assets go to your current spouse, but a lot not, as we discussed. But it can leave out significantly your kids from prior marriage, or then the spouse can leave them out. So the default rules don't always fit for everybody. So having a will is important there, to customize documents for your situation, whether that be an estate plan with a will or estate plan with a trust. So talk to an attorney about that. Another thing, tilting and beneficiaries. So, excuse me. Joint accounts, retirement plans, life insurance, these things often bypass the will entirely, never hit an estate. So if you do have a will and you leave everything to your spouse and then to your kids, or you say 50% to my spouse, 50% to my kids, well, if you've got a joint bank account, that money never hits your estate, never controlled by your will. Life insurance, IRA, 401k, investment brokerage accounts, those things are all beneficiary driven. So that money goes to the beneficiary. That money never hits your estate. So a lot of people say, I want to give my grandkids $5,000 each. My next question is always, how will you fund that gift? Because if your kids are on your bank account, grandkids get nothing because that's not an estate asset. And your old 1998 Buick, probably isn't going to fund 6 grandkids with $5,000 each. So, it's an important question, but we can always tailor that. There are ways around that. There are ways to tailor that to make sure everyone's needs are met. So, then we get into the fair versus equal, right, Megan?
Yes. Fair versus equal. Where is that? Oh, here we go. Sorry. I'm slow.
You're not slow. You're just tired.
No, I just didn't have the right piece of paper.
Or there's that. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
So, equal shares and unequal needs. So you split everything 50-50, and that sounds fair, right? But what happens when you have one child with special needs, and let's add on there another that you've had to support for years, and then you have other kid over here that's financially secure, and so equal shares are gonna be ignoring those unequal realities, and then it can kind of feel like a punishment to the child who sacrificed the most.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have 3 kids and you've got the one responsible kid that takes care of you, takes you to doctor's appointments, takes you to the lawyer's office, takes you to go pay your tax bill, like things like that. They run you around, they help you out in many ways. You make them the executor of your estate, and then you split everything equally. But you're creating a mess for that executor child who's the most responsible one, because then they have to deal with, well, what happens because this kid is on SSI, and this kid you've given money to and supplemented them for years, and then there's the responsible one who's been helping you out with your bills and running your errands and stuff like that. So is that really equal? I don't think that really serves any of those 3 kids. And there are ways that you can craft your estate plan to make fair adjustments. So,
but then there's also you give more to the child who is a teacher versus the one that has a successful job, or the one that married the rich spouse. You give them less, and maybe you meant well, but that's not necessarily your kids are going to feel judged. So estate planning is not the place to reward or penalize life choices. It's a place to be clear, kind, and intentional.
yeah, we're not going to get into penalizing or rewarding life choices right now on this podcast, but maybe that's a conversation
Those are things
for another
I was
day.
going to say. The idea is that this
Yeah, that
funds
you're not
those.
doing that. So then you have the issue. And, well, I'm just going to name all my kids the executor, let them figure it out. What could possibly go wrong with that?
Oh, that is so fun, trying to gather all of them together to sign
Or
every single time.
Another one of my favorite ones. I'm going to make them get along. I'm going to make them work together. What a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. I mean, I think that there's probably like 3 degrees of separation with someone that has either dealt with a situation where siblings turn nasty and they can't get along, can't agree when someone dies. But they all have to, because nobody wants to give up their rights to control anything, but nobody wants to get along either. And then you have to deal with, spouses.
Oh, and that
Real
is
estate.
always what the issue is. It's always the spouse.
Yeah. Anyway.
So don't leave vague instructions. Don't think they'll figure it out. Or I love when people go, well, I'll be dead. It ain't gonna matter.
And they'll work it out.
Yeah.
No, they won't. Ambiguity breeds conflict.
Every time.
That is one of I have several, I guess, Megan, what do you call them? You call them Sarah-isms?
Yes.
I have several things I say all the time. You ask me something, and I'm going to say like one of 2 or 3 things. And one of them is ambiguity breeds conflict, because it's clear. I mean, it's not clear. And if you want your kids to stay close, don't make them interpret your silence. Spell it out clearly and legally. And if your attorney is not crafting, or if you are getting an online boilerplate Google will, that's not going to be specific or clear. So go talk to an attorney and get it to be specific and custom tailored to you and your situation.
Yeah. And don't ignore the emotional assets. You may have divided the money, but you forget the meaning. And there are things like who gets the family home, who gets grandma's ring, dad's guitar. All those items carry such emotional weight, and unequal distribution will feel like betrayal. So talk about it, document it, and Don't let your heirlooms become the heartbreak of your family.
Yeah, and importantly, I hate to harp on this, and this is not just because I am an estate planner. Work with an estate planner who understands your family, not just your finances.
Easy killer.
She liked it. I just mic dropped right there now.
I was so blown away by that.
Life changing. Work with an estate planner who gets you, not just somebody that's a document drafter. Somebody that's going to listen to you, sit down, address your questions, and look at the whole picture. You can use trust, letters of intent, clear beneficiary designations. But remember this, fair means thoughtful, not necessarily equal. So, Megan.
So the
That was
inherit
an awkward pause.
absolutely. This is the only kind I like to do.
Pause for awkward effect, not dramatic, awkward effect.
Exactly.
Well, as we've discussed before, I am just baseline awkward. So, I mean, I can roll with it, but I recognize it.
So let's talk about the inheritance illusion.
Yeah.
Why verbal promises do not hold up in court.
So this is a situation where you say, my kids get everything equally.
Yes. You told your daughter she'd get the lake house. You promised your son he'd inherit the business, but you never wrote it down. And Sarah, are those verbal promises legally binding?
No, they are worthless. Courts don't care about memory. They care about legal documents. And if your will says everything goes to my kids equally, your son doesn't get the business. The daughter doesn't just automatically get the lake house. They have to fight it out.
Because the courts weren't there when you said it.
Yeah, and it wasn't specified in your will, because if you just said everything goes to my kids equally and your estate planner didn't ask questions or Google didn't ask questions, then, or ChatGPT didn't ask you any further questions on how to draft your will, then it doesn't go that way. You have to be specific and intentional. So verbal promises, no matter how heartfelt, don't override a written will, trust, or beneficiary designation. So while your kids might inherit equally, air quotes, they might not get the distribution and the valuation that you thought would be considered equal and what they actually wanted, because daughter might have said, no, I don't have any interest in the business. But she might.
Until
Yeah, and she also just might want the money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the son might never have wanted the lake house, but his wife might have. So, you never know. You have to be specific, because you want, if your estate plan says one thing, your family remembers another, the law always wins and your legacy loses. So be specific, be intentional with it.
So this is how families fracture, and it's not just because of greed, but sometimes also confusion. Someone believed a promise that wasn't backed up by paper. So if you've made a promise, you need to put it in writing. And if you change your mind, update the document. So if you want peace, leave clarity, not conflict. Let's not fracture families.
That's right. You think of an example of something that you have that your kids would fight over. So if you said like everything, obviously your spouse gets it, but like if you're the last spouse to die, what do you think your kids would fight over the most?
Probably the dog. Right now.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
a great
currently-
point, actually. And I had brought something about like pet trust, which I forgot to print, but yeah, leave your dog to someone if they might fight over it, because dogs are not people. They are assets under the law. So they are personal property. So you can will, devise, and bequeath them to someone. So who would you want to get Sweet Lucy?
Sloan.
Yes. Yes. And then I would be, she is under 21, under 18. So I would be the custodial person under the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act, right?
Yep, absolutely. So we would, but what would they fight over? I honestly do not know. Probably knowing Michelle, Monica, and Mia being the oldest, they would probably fight over like heirlooms more than assets. My necklace that my dad had made for me that has all my kids' birthstones, things like that. Like I think those are the things. But I mean, Michelle, the keeper of the flame, has already started squirreling away family photographs. So
That's good. It's good to have a family historian.
yeah, so she does that. So, I could see that, but
I don't want any of your other stuff. See, that's the thing. Like, we don't collect things. Things are not made. I sound like an old lady, but they don't make things the way they used to. Things aren't they don't keep their value like they used to. So, we don't have China as much anymore. I collect Fiesta ware. Nobody's gonna want that when I'm gone. Nobody's gonna want my scratched up Fiesta ware that I use every day, so it's not worth anything because it's scratched up.
yeah.
But it means something to me. I collect it. My family it's something that I've collected with my family for years. So
Sloan might want it.
maybe, probably not though.
Probably not.
I think it's one of those things where she'll inherit it and she'll keep it because she'll be like, well, this is mom's favorite. Mom loved this stuff. She had this. It's as expensive as some like legit China, if you look at it. But I think she would keep it more for the sentimental value of it because she felt like she should. And then a couple years later, as she got older, I think she would bring that back out and use it because that's what I love about it. It's not really an heirloom. It's not too expensive, but it's not like China that just sits in a cabinet. It's actual like stoneware that you can bake with and use. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to collect. Yeah, I love jewelry, but I want things to be useful and I really love to cook. So like when I'm long gone, I want Sloan to take out I make Fiesta ware 13 by 9 baker and say, Mom loved to bake casseroles around the holidays in this pan. And that's why I want it. Not because it's worth anything. I think she will.
Well, my dad asked me what one thing I wanted, and I wanted his chipped up change jars that he won for something he did for the JCs in the 80s. But when I was a kid, every day he'd come home, he'd take his change out, and pennies go in one, and silver change goes in the other, and
My dad did that too.
They've been glued back together, and somebody painted on them, like hand painted. You only get out of it what you put into it.
Huh.
So like, and my dad's like, that's what you want. I'm like, yep, that's what I want. It has absolutely no value, and no one else would ever want it.
It has plenty of value. It's immeasurable value.
Yeah.
So some tangible things, It's not
You can't
so much.
take it to Antiques Roadshow.
No, I mean, it's not the vessel. It's what's inside it. It's like what it holds, like the memories. So it's not the pennies it holds for sure, but
Hey, they're not making them anymore.
well, I was going to segue into that. It's kind of off topic, but why not? Yeah, what do you guys think? So I was at McDonald's yesterday, my daughter's favorite place, of course, and they had a sign on there that said, they're going to stop making pennies soon, as of the time of this podcast.
They already have. Yeah.
Oh, they have. That's
Yeah.
right. I saw the news. Like the last
Last
penny
week.
was minted. So McDonald's now is rounding up 5 cents. Like, so your order is like $10.31. It becomes $10.35 by the taxes. They're going to round up. Now, how do you guys feel about that? Because when do they round down? When does it ever benefit the consumer? Because they're not going to lower their prices since they're getting like 4 cents extra per transaction.
Yep. Nope.
Because if you think about it, 4 cents sounds like nothing, but like just the little McDonald's I was at in Advance, like the amount of traffic that they see on a daily basis, and I don't know how many McDonald's franchises there are in the country, but think about 4 cents times every single McDonald's transaction in the country every day. How many dollars do you think that is per day?
Well, remember.
What do you think, Tim?
I would say probably close to
Billions with a B.
billions per day.
Yeah, but are they going to lower prices?
No. That's the whole thing about any of this. When everybody's talking about grocery prices need to come down, grocery prices will never come down because once they figured out that they can charge this
And you'll pay for it.
and you'll pay for it, they won't ever bring it down.
Yeah, and that's the thing is supply and demand. Consumers pay, it's the time value of money, but more than that, it's utility of objects. Like, how much is this worth to me? How much of my personal utility of how much I labor I have put into this money, how much my labor am I willing to give up to get this widget?
Yeah.
Way off topic, but interesting because, if they lowered prices, like everything on the menu, they lower by 5 cents. By the taxes calculation, it's still going to round up 4 more cents. So they will be out nothing if they lower the menu item by 5 cents. You see, it's a wash for them, but do you think they're going to do that?
No. Well, you talked about how much money that would be. It reminded me of the famous lawsuit where the punitive damages were the sale of coffee worldwide for McDonald's for one day.
The hot coffee case.
Yes. And think about how many millions that was, one day's worth of coffee sales.
Back then. And that was in the 90s, I believe.
Early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's when it settled.
They still cover the McDonald's coffee case in law school, so it's still relevant for sure. But.
So I want to make this clear too, even with the roundup that McDonald's is doing for the thing. A lot of people don't know this, but you can always round up to the next dollar, and anything that go at McDonald's and anything between that next dollar and your cost goes to the Ronald McDonald House.
No, I did not know that.
Yep.
So I would be more likely to say just round it up to the nearest dollar and let that money go to Ronald McDonald House than let McDonald's corporate collect my 4 cents.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like not greedy, but me being obstinate, but I would rather that money, I would rather pay 99 cents extra and have that money go to the Ronald McDonald House than have 4 cents go to McDonald's corporate.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, just tell them you want to round up for the Ronald McDonald House.
Okay. Well, and when they do that, like various charities, I do that a lot. Because it's a little thing that it's nothing to think about. Like 17 cents to me is nothing but 17 cents times 40,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on that? Further thoughts?
No, but I hope that everybody got from this episode that if you have a blended family, you really, really should talk to an attorney.
Absolutely. In the state where you're where you're domiciled. So.
Yep. And we
again,
would be happy to talk to you if you were in the Triad area.
Well, happy to talk to you anywhere in North Carolina. We handle estates and estate planning all over the state, in all 100 counties. So happy to talk to you. In fact, if you're not in North Carolina, I am not licensed in those states, but I do have referral partners and other attorneys that I'm familiar with in the majority of the other states. So
I think it also is important to say that while any attorney that is licensed can write a will, when you have a blended family, it is important that you talk to somebody who focuses on estate planning.
Planner, yes, because we talk about this all the time. Attorneys are kind of like doctors. You do have the family care or the primary care provider who kind of like
General practitioner.
Yeah, it does a little bit of everything. But you're not going to want your general family doctor to be performing heart surgery on you.
Nope.
No, and you don't want your heart surgeon like performing ACL. Well, you don't want your dermatologist performing ACL reconstruction. Yep. Because I want my dermatologist to know all about my moles. I want him to focus on my moles. Don't focus on my pickleball injury. Yeah. Which, it's a conversation for another day. But attorneys also specialize. They have their focus areas. So I'm not going to ever, never say never. Yes, I'm saying never handle a child custody case. Because
you mean you won't defend me in a capital murder case?
Absolutely not. But I know people that will.
Yeah.
So let's not let our, and that's not to say that like a family lawyer can't write an amazing trust, but let's not let our patent lawyer do our divorce. That's an extreme example, but so anyway, that's our 2 cents for the day. This has been Motion to Spill with Sarah Young,
The Sarah Young.
Megan Rogers, and Tim.
It's me.
Quick reminder, while I am a lawyer, I may not be your lawyer. This podcast is designed to educate and entertain, not to provide legal advice for your personal situation. Every legal issue is unique, and good legal advice requires knowing all the specifics of your case, which I don't have from a podcast. If you need legal help with a legal matter, please consult with a qualified attorney in your jurisdiction who can give you personalized guidance. Thanks for listening, and remember, no attorney-client relationship is created by tuning in.
This is Motion to Spill. All rights are reserved. So this podcast is ours, not yours. We made it, we own it, and we copyrighted it. So don't steal our stuff, don't copy it, share it commercially, or don't try to pass it off as your own genius. If you want to use our content for something, just ask us, like a normal person. We might say yes, and we might say no, but at least you won't be breaking the law. Seriously though, unauthorized use of this content can get you in legal trouble, and no one wants that kind of drama. And I mean, come on, she's an attorney. Don't mess with her.